Hi guys, how are you? So nice to connect to you. My name is Laura from Shamanichealer.com. Welcome to this video and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to talk about a topic that I think deserves a separate video. Some concepts I've mentioned in other videos already, but I will repeat a few of those in this one just to kind of have it as an overview. And I'm not really sure what I want to title this video, so I'm just looking at notes here, but something along the lines of why is the New Age so damaging and detrimental, or how the New Age ruins lives. And basically this is really about also the more recent videos that I've been airing where I'm reviewing a few of the bigger names and all of that too. So I have been receiving a few comments, especially starting earlier this month, specifically, starting with the Lionsgate Portal video for sure, which that one obviously blew up, but also with a few other videos where random people are just commenting, being like, well, if it doesn't resonate with you, just leave it alone. Or this was especially in regards to Dolores Cannon. Well, why are you attacking this poor woman? She's already dead and yada yada. Or why are you attacking Lori Ladd and Elizabeth April and all of these people? And if it doesn't resonate with you, there's no reason in attacking these people and all of that. So it's the typical, I don't want to label it New Age junk, but it kind of is the typical stereotypical response that you do get from people, because as soon as you start questioning their concepts, you're the bad person, you're the person who should leave it alone, who's resonating in a lower vibration and all of those things, right? So it's kind of like the indirect way of gaslighting is how I like to see it. But basically, as a disclaimer, and I have said this in a few other videos, I just want to put it out there. I am not attacking anyone in specific. When I'm reviewing these people, I'm reviewing their videos and I'm reviewing all the nonsense that they're saying in these videos and I'm pointing it out. So this is not me trying to get back to people who I've been hurt by or who I feel are threatening me in their presence or whatever. This is really not what it's about at all. This is really just to showcase how detrimental these New Age concepts can be as well, especially in the case of, let's just say, Lori Ladd, who is basically really re-emphasizing the victim trauma role and also calling complacency and all of that in with her followership, which she does have a huge followership. And I do want to point this out too, that the larger the followers are of these so-called spiritual people or New Agers, the more psychic attacks I personally have experienced. I already noticed that a few years ago when I started calling out people like Elizabeth April, Phil Good, and so on, that I was like all of a sudden just attacked randomly, either in my dream state or through other means, or I just felt like I couldn't really think clear for a few hours or even a day or so. So I already started noticing these things back in the day. But I have started noticing, especially after the Lori Ladd video, that there's this the AI just put something kind of like, I want to say almost around my head, where it was very, very hard to push that aside and clearly function and do my regular tasks during the day and everything. So I know that the larger these accounts are, the more you do get attacked when you put it out there. And so I'm really not doing this for your entertainment. I'm really not doing this because it's like a tit for a tat. I want to get back to anyone. No, I'm actually doing this, and I'm kind of also putting myself a bit in risk and danger, energetically at least, because I do think it's very important to just kind of uncover and unveil all of this. But the attacks are out there, and I have started noticing this from 2021 and on for sure. The New Age and these concepts, once again, I don't want to necessarily label it the New Age or whatever, but that's kind of what it is, to be honest with you. They have ruined people's lives and they are still ruining people's lives. And but it's very important to note is that people have contacted me, either during personal sessions or emails or whatever, and have told me their stories and how they were all into this. And all of a sudden, boom, nothing. They were kind of dropped by their spirit guides or entities, angels, whatever they were calling in. Some of them had very dark thoughts, like, taking their own lives and all of that. I do discuss that program, the Taking Your Own Life program and how it is a program in a different video. So this is not just something to be taken lightly, in my opinion, if people are having those kind of thoughts. It's one thing to have been in a program or cult or whatever for years and years, and just to wake up one day and be like, okay, this is not for me anymore, or kind of to wake up and be like, okay, today I don't feel like, doing this anymore. But it's another thing, and I see that very frequently with the New Age, when something doesn't resonate anymore, but the moment you're trying to get away from it, or the moment you start questioning all of that, you feel empty inside, you feel a bit soulless, I even want to say, inside, and you hear voices in your head that are trying to tell you you're unworthy, you're never going to make it in your life, or that you should be better off just kind of ending it all together, and that is something that I have been seeing in this entire movement overall. I'm not sure if you see the same in religion. I wouldn't be surprised if you do. I do want to make a separate video on how the New Age and religion are basically almost one and the same concepts, with ascension, salvation, praying to a false god in religion, or praying to these false entities in the New Age, and how it's all about, giving your power away. But in this video specifically, I really just want to focus on how the New Age has kind of ruined life. So not only has it ruined your life, if you are still in it or have been in it, but most likely also the lives of people around you that you were close to, like your family, your friends, who all of a sudden couldn't connect to you anymore. And I know it happens, it's kind of what life is about. Like, we're friends with people from an early age on, like when we're children, and then in high school, we're not friends with them anymore. And then as adults, we're not, like, I know that's the regular life cycle. But in this movement specifically, it's been happening to such an extreme degree that, let's just say 2 years ago, you didn't even know anything about this. And then you're in it, that like everyone who's not on that same vibration, like 5D dimension that they want to drag you onto, is lower vibrational. They're not worthy of your attention and all those things. So you kind of gone completely woo-woo and crazy to your relatives and everything. And families have been breaking apart because of that, where people have kind of lost their inner touch with who they were, maybe the grounding and the network that they had before. So that's another important point to notice as well. And whether or not they're able to return to that after they kind of see through all the deceptions is another thing. It really depends on the family that they have, the friends that they have, the network that they had, and everything too. And there are many reasons to not be friends with anyone or never talk to anyone again. But I do think being in the New Age and not being in it anymore is one of the most common reasons somehow, or kind of like being misled by all these programs, ruining your life in terms of you constantly giving your power away. It's like there's never an emphasis on your inner power. The only thing that I kind of see is when they're emphasizing meditation, but meditation in a form of, okay, meditate and connect with your so-called spirit guides, or how I like to call it, spirit misguides. It's never just like something where you're supposed to go within and just be in that stillness somehow, like very, very rarely, right? A lot of people who are in the New Age, they kind of use meditation to connect to these entities, or to kind of use it and then afterwards channel aliens, ETs, guides, angels, whatever. So the emphasis, from what I can tell, is always outside of yourself. Another person, or actually a few people, commented on the Lionsgate portal video being like, why are you, meaning me, why are you trying to get us away from meditating and connecting to this mass meditation means? And, the first question that popped to my mind when people started asking that was, why would you want to follow the masses like a blind sheep? First of all, why can't you just have your own little thing going on? Why does it have to be on 8/8 in this specific case, or 11/11, January 1st, 2/2, or 22/2, whatever? Why do you have to follow this enormous mass meditation like a sheep? Is basically what it is. Why can't you just come up with your own concepts and do it on a day that resonates more with you, right? So that's like kind of the first counter question that popped to my mind. I'm not trying to get anyone away from, actually I am trying to get people away from mass meditation, because mass meditations are used to harvest your energy, absolutely. And there have been experiments done on that. The think it was the California University of Berkeley or whatever, has done experiments on that in the 60s, whatever, how energy can be generated and it can be used for certain things. And now, if they're already disclosing that type of information in the 60s, you can rest assured they already have so much more technology than they're disclosing, meaning they can harvest that type of energy for much longer already. And they've been priority using it for much, much longer too. What can they use it for? Probably to generate a whole bunch of other realities, parallel realities, and you're not even aware of that. So your soul pieces are getting splintered off. You're not in full control of your energy body and all of those things. So yes, in a way, yeah, I don't think mass meditation is very smart. It's personally never resonated with me. Anything that has to do with the masses, being promoted in the mainstream, I always kind of started questioning that from an early age on. It seems like a lot of people, or some people, just don't have that type of discernment, and that's why a lot of people are also falling for these type of things. But in short, I'm not trying to get people away from meditation specifically, even though for some people, meditation really can be detrimental. If you look at these meditation retreats, I would never promote those at all. I've had people come out of those being like, I actually felt worse than when I entered. I had this one friend, actually, she went to like 3 or 4 retreats. And the first time it was okay, but she said it actually wasn't. And these are like the 8-day long silent retreats. I forgot which program they go through. Again, you find them all over the world. And my friend specifically was in Canada when she started doing those, and then in France. But she was basically saying, okay, I literally just did it because I wanted to challenge myself. And I'm like, okay, that's good. A challenge is always something that you should embrace in life and everything. And she came out of it and she was like, she felt almost like more nervous, like her nervous system was attacked more than before, because they were still for, I don't even know, 8 hours, 12 hours a day. I forgot what she had told me. This is already a few years ago. And every little noise, like a rustling of something, like kind of triggered her nervous system to such a degree that it took a few weeks to adjust to that again. So it almost seemed like an adverse effect somehow. And then she was like, but I still want to challenge myself further and go to a few more of those retreats. And then she finally gave it up. So I heard of other things happening, other people literally losing their mind during those times. I think those are extreme examples, but I've never actually heard something very good out of those retreats. So if you want to meditate like that for like a week straight, 8 hours a day or whatever, I don't know why. I personally don't see much benefit in that. It kind of sounds like the Buddhist cult, which I want to talk about in a different video too, because it is a cult in and of itself. I'm not opposed to quieting your mind. I think it's very important to find that. If I would call it meditation, I don't know. For the lack of a better word, I guess. Quieting your mind maybe for 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, or like every other day, I do think can be very important. But you can do that in a way where you're also doing like a walking meditation or moving meditation, like drawing, painting, like all of that, just clearing the clutter out of your monkey mind or your very busy mind, the chatter of your mind. Yes, those are good. Now, do you have to do that on these portal dates or whatever? I don't think so, really. If you want to do it, okay, but there's some dark energy around it, as I already discussed in that video. So that's just something I wanted to say to all the people who were like, oh, she's just trying to get us away from mass meditating. Yes, in a way, I don't see much benefit in it, to be honest with you. You can do those things on your own. You don't have to follow the masses like a blind sheep. Now, how else can the New Age really ruin your life, or any sort of extreme mentality? You're just not really grounded in this reality anymore. You're thinking everything you're doing is getting you into a higher vibration. I've known of people who were completely bankrupt after the New Age movement, who just couldn't see the truth anymore, who were basically just racking up debt. And, a lot of people do that, not only New Age people, like there are people who really want to believe in their success, like wanting to be a singer, wanting to be an actor, all of those things, a model, whatever. So it's not just in this movement, but in this movement specifically, because even an actor eventually just gets a bartending job or a catering job or some sort of job that they wouldn't necessarily want to get. But they kind of see the reality. They're like, okay, I'm not making it yet. I have to get something else. But somehow with the New Age movement, it always seems like, okay, we were able to manifest a little bit of income now, I'm just waiting on this next break and everything. So legit, I've known of people who were financially wrecked through it and who just wouldn't see the truth until they were finally away from that or stepped away from that, or until they couldn't unsee it anymore because they had racked up so much financial debt or whatever. And I know debt doesn't just happen in this movement, but it is another form of, call them false highs or whatever, where you're literally just kind of floating around in the clouds and you're not seeing the truth anymore. You're not seeing reality. And so that's one form of reality that you're not seeing. And it's literally like you're getting these false highs by maybe meditating and afterwards channeling your guides or whatever. You're getting like some insight. You're getting some important, I don't know, future prediction or past life or whatever that they're telling you that's coming through. And so you're getting this false high. You feel like, oh my gosh, now I have more pieces to the puzzle that I'm missing somehow. So you're basically jumping from one false high into that next. And then every time you come out of that, like from that cloud down into reality, the crash is just harder and harder. It's almost like someone who's almost under the influence of substances and they have to get back on it, but you're probably never going to achieve another high that's as high as the one you did before. So you're always craving something. It's a form of addiction is how I like to call it. And they are false highs in that sense, because you're not getting them internally from you, even though it might feel that way. You're getting them really externally from these entities that are in your field somehow. And so another thing really is how it can ruin your life is that a lot of people's energy fields, believe it or not, are extremely cluttered with AI, like cords, implants, all of that. These are like astral implants, astral cords and everything, that I can basically just walk past them and I can feel like all the stuff that's going on in their energy field, similar to people who have a mental disorder almost. I mean, that's an extreme example for some New Agers, obviously, not all of them feel that way, but for a lot of them, it also almost seems like they're not 100% there in their body. Like and this is another reason they want to get you out of your body, have all these walk-ins happening. If you're familiar with the term walk-in, it's another spirit taking over the soul that's in your body or whatever's in your body. And so you basically vacating your body in that sense. And so they have full control of that. There's a major, major reason that we have the bodies that we have right now. It all goes back to our DNA. We even look similar from past life to past life. Like in past lives, we had similar cheekbone structures, maybe hair structures, maybe even height. Not all the time, but our DNA is in our bone and our blood, and also in our hair and nails and everything. So we carry that with us from lifetime to lifetime. Meaning our bodies are actually, other physical bodies are actually very, very precious. And nowadays they're really trying to get to our physical bodies through the vegan agenda, for example, which was already shortly discussed, like in a few interviews that I had with others, where the discussion was about, okay, certain blood types need certain type of diets and all of that. But the majority of people has a certain type of blood type that would actually need protein on a regular basis, meaning meat. So the vegan agenda is just another agenda reinforced by all of these superstars and other people. Call it the N and then W and then O if you want. Now I don't want to go into that in this video because I know it's a trigger topic. If you want a separate video on that, we can make a separate video on it. But basically, there's something precious to our physical body. So they're trying to weaken our bodies. They're trying to get to us constantly through parasites. You got to do constant detoxes. Through the most recent 2020 agenda and beyond, like constant AI within you that you should detox regularly, either through pine needle teas or other stuff. So yeah, they're always trying to get to us. The entire infertility movement is huge these days. They're trying to make women infertile, men infertile. So there's a lot that goes into that. But in short, our physical body is very precious. And they, meaning the entities around us, the AI around us, and also the controllers around us, actually can't control you unless you decide somehow voluntarily or involuntarily through trauma or whatever to vacate your body and let another spirit enter, another soul enter. So with a lot of these New Ages, what you do see is basically like nothing in their eyes, right? It's almost like these soulless eyes, these empty eyes that I also discussed in other videos where we talk about the robotoids and everything. So basically, They're trying to just kind of get to that little piece of soul or whatever that's still left within them or within you, and try to kind of have it overtaken by other spirits, by other entities, so that they can be the driver in the car meaning your body. So you can just kind of either drive it to the ground or do whatever the heck they want to do with it. And that's very important to note, because when I talk to a lot of these, call them recovering New Agers or whatever, first of all, some have lost their joy in life. They've really been trying to get to our joy, everyone's joy, not just New Age joy, but basically since 2020 on, the main prerogative was getting the joy away from people. So when you experience joy, you connect to your heart, and your heart is the gateway to the soul. And you experience joy by doing things that are joyful, such as dancing, art, painting, drawing, whatever it is for you, singing, music, drumming, whatever, right? Being in a rock band. There are certain hobbies that we had as a child and teenager that could very well still bring you joy as an adult. It's just the reason you're not doing them anymore is simply because the corporate world got to you, or life just got to you, and your parents told you there's no future with it, so just push it aside. You know, any form of art, artistic expression, photography, martial arts, like whatever it is, right? Whatever brings you joy, it's going to be different for everyone. A lot of that also has to do, let's just take dancing as an example. It has to do with being fully present in your body. You cannot dance correctly unless you're actually in your body. And so a magnificent way to gain control of your body again is actually to start doing these physical activities like running, dancing, all of that. Not necessarily yoga, because the entire yoga thing is also very infiltrated, and there are certain entities around all of that too, and all the certain twists and stretches and, you know, breathing that happens during yoga can kind of invoke a whole lot of different attacks. But yeah, I mean, if you think you're okay with that, fine. It's just more about like just kind of like the dancing stuff, or just like really being in your body and grounding too, somehow walking barefoot outside, all of that. So when a lot of these recovering people come to me and they're like, I don't experience joy, whatever in my life, it's all about rediscovering that. And it's all about also grounding and being in your body. And a lot of that can happen through, you know, physical activities and feeling your body again. That's like a crucial step. I feel it's also a crucial step, by the way, for trauma victims, ironically, which I do feel a lot of trauma victims are drawn somehow to the New Age, because it does promise them a better life, a better this, a better whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're also drawn to religion for the same reasons. You know, like I said, it's basically the same sword, just different sides of it, different sides of the blade. And it's very important to keep pointing that out, because sometimes I still have Christians on my channel. And I don't know where they're coming from, but we have to make a new video on that, because I guess it's not clear enough that both of them are not something that I'm reinforcing or emphasizing. Another thing that I do want to mention is that a lot of these entities or energies, angels, archangels, whatever, that people are praying to or trying to usher in, they're not of the light. You know, with a lot of them, I am removing them out of their field somehow. So they're leaving a form of residue in the field. And in addition to that, they're also putting stuff in people's energy bodies. So I legit removed like full-on snakes out of people who were really involved with, especially the angels and archangels. I think the snakes are coming more from like archangels and ascended masters than angels. Angels in a form or another are AI, at least that's kind of what I've seen. They're not as powerful as people want to give them credit to, really not. And you kind of diminishing your power and scooping down to their level is always, you know, in hindsight, when you really see it for what it is always a bit sad, in my opinion. But it's not like nothing really happens when you work with them and everything. No, that's really not the case. Like I've seen detrimental effects, you know, when people call upon them. I had this one case, I think, where a person actually lost her pet recently after doing a ceremony for either Archangel Michael or one of the other archangels. And all of a sudden her pet was gone to the other side, you know, it had died. And It was like, oh, okay, but maybe it was time. And I was like, no, not really. I think that was a sacrifice, like a ceremonial sacrifice that the archangel kind of cashed in on in that sense, or the entity that was portraying themselves as Archangel Michael or whatever. So it's not like nothing ever happens, but a lot of people don't see it for what it is. They maybe think, oh, it was time for them to move on anyhow. And you're making possibly soul contracts with these beings as well. Meaning when you want to move on to the other side and kind of, get out of this life somehow, or get out of this matrix reality, they possibly won't let you, because you made so many soul contracts with them during this lifetime. So it also goes for religious people, by the way, when you call upon them and the entities that are them, or that are saying they are them. So I specifically have removed stuff out of people's energy bodies, like full-on snakes, that were working with them very frequently in the past. And that was like another eye opener, another confirmation of being like, yeah, this is not just nothing here. This is actually something that makes people ungrounded, keeps them trapped in this reality, and all the things too. So in short, back to the topic. No, I'm not trying to get back to certain people or whatever that I've had interactions with in the past, or whose accounts I was following, or all of that. I am reviewing people I barely even know. And so when I watch their video, it's like, wow, okay, first sentences they're saying already says a lot, and all of that. I'm just doing it to point out exactly how deep the deceptions run, and how they try to wrap you around a finger and kind of hypnotize you. A few of these people have hypnotic stares as well, like really these empty stares that draws people in. Some of them are working with hand movements, especially the light language channelers, that are encoding a whole bunch of things in your own energy field without you even knowing, sometimes even psychically attacking you, by the way. I already felt that back in like 2020 and beyond. So there's really a lot that goes into that. But the New Age deception runs deep, and it has damaging effects. It has had damaging effects on a lot of people. It still does. It seems like some people are definitely waking up to that, and that's great. But I do think we need more people waking up to that. And that's what this video is for. I hope it resonates. If you have anything else to add for future videos, definitely let me know. I want to go through further concepts like, the chosen light warriors, the 144,000 program, being like part of that. But I think it deserves a separate video in and of itself. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for being here. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. Talk to you very soon. Bye, guys.